live broadcast available through the Council's website. The Council is a data controller under the Data Protection Act, Regulations and Data Protection Act 2018. We broadcast and record Council meetings to fulfil our public task obligation to enable members of the public to observe the democratic process. Data collected during the process will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policies available through the Council's website. Members of the Council are reminded that they should follow the Council's established meeting protocols, including the use of the chat facility, and that comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants in the meeting, which also may include members of the public who have received invites to the meeting. So with that, I'll go along to Diane to ask for apologies and declarations of interest in the roll call.
We have apologies for absence from Councillor Wilson. Convener will now move to an attendance roll call before proceeding with the declarations of interest. The following members have been indicated to present at the meeting, either in person or remotely. Councillor Armstrong, present in the chamber. Councillor Brennan,
present in the chamber.
Councillor Clougherty,
Present in chamber.
Councillor Halier,
present remotely.
Councillor Maguire,
Present.
Councillor McVeigh,
In chamber.
Councillor Nelson, Councillor Quinn,
Present remotely.
Councillor Reynolds,
Present remotely.
Councillor Robertson.
Present in the chamber.
Are there any declarations of interest?
No, thanks for that. Can we move to agenda item number 2, which is the revenue budget update from our absolutely fantastic finance officer, Ian.
Thanks very much, Convener. So this is the Communities Revenue Budget Report for 25-26. Current budget is 5.809 million, and the latest projection is an overspend of 31,000 or 0.5% of the budget, and that's a decrease in expenditure of 37,000 since the last committee. So the overspend continues to be mainly due to the non-achievement of turnover savings within libraries and the museum, and that's partially offset by the recovery of school rents income. Section 3.4 Appendix 4 gives you details of the earmarked reserves, and as previously reported, the only earmarked reserve for this financial year is at 25,000 for the community grants, and that's been fully spent, with the balance of 50,000 carried forward to be used in the next 22 financial year. Not requesting any violence this cycle, so committee will just be asked to note the projected overspend of 31,000 for the community's revenue budget, and I've also asked to note that the education revenue budget report later on in the agenda has a underspend projected of 177,000, and that more than offsets this projected overspend. And happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ian. And I should explain it's Ian's last committee today, so that's why I was bumming his chaff a wee bit, but no doubt we'll be able to say a wee bit more about that later on. So with that, I'll open up to questions for any member. Can't see anything online, and I can't see anything in the room. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks.
Can we move up to agenda item number 2, which is the Communities Capital Programme, and we'll start off with Hugh.
Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being up. The report gives you an update on where we are with our communities, as part of Education Communities Capital Programme. Within the report, 4.1 gives the current spend that we've got so far. In the paper, I've given you an update on where we are with some of the community capital projects, the leisure pitch assessment, asset management plan, the 3.6 Degree Road Community Centre, South West Community Hub, the establishment and extension. And that you'll give us a date of that. Unfortunately, we're showing a slight delay at the moment, but we're working very closely with contractors to try and get that back on terms. 3.7 in the report gives you an update of where we are with Bank Street Community Hub, which is funded by the Scottish Government Regeneration Fund. I'm delighted to say that it's nearly completed, and we're hoping that will complete by the end of June. 3.8 gives you an update where we are with the changing places. Again, we're out to tender at the moment, and hopefully have that complete by later on in the year. Under the asset transfer working group proposals, there's a paper behind there in Appendix 2 to give you an update where we are with our current engagement with a number of assets who we're looking to transfer over. Happy to get any questions in the report.
Thank you, Hugh. I'm going to opt to questions. No questions? Can we agree the paper?
Agreed.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Quinn. Lynn?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, the raise hand button was sticking there, so I was a bit late in pressing it. Yeah, so I've just got a wee quick question under 3.6 under the Grieve Road Community Centre. Just for those delays, I'm just keen to understand if there's any costs associated with the delays. And my second point is under the asset transfer. Is there any update on the sort of copper mine community centre and us getting that finalised? Because I've just noticed it's been 4 months since Environment Regen Committee agreed at the 15th of January. Thanks.
Lynn, I'll take them in order. I'll bring Eddie in first with regard to the Grieve Road, and then Hugh will come in regarding the copper mine. Eddie?
Yeah, and through you, Convener, in terms of the Grieve Road project, there will be potentially some prolongation costs associated with those delays that the contractors experience, but that's something that obviously the design team will need to assess throughout the weeks, and whether or not the contractor gets formal extensions of time, that's yet to be determined, but likely there will be some prolongation costs which we'll look to try and contain within the project contingency as best we can.
Okay with that one, Lynn?
Okay, thanks.
And Hugh?
Thanks for the question, Councillor Quinn. The copper mine is with legal at the moment, just going through the process. So the paperwork, I think some of the paperwork was sent to them this week. I was on holiday last week, so I've seen some stuff in some of my emails that our lawyers have been engaging with them now to get that finished. So with that, the legal process to just complete everything, but everything else is passed, as you said.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Can't see anything online, can't see anything in the room. Can we agree the paper?
Agreed.
Thank you. Can we move to agenda item number 4, which is the national and local updates? You can see there's 16 items on this. I'll let Tony come in to introduce it. We'll get Sarah here as well. Tony.
Thanks, Convener. So yeah, this report highlights some of the local and national developments concerning the cultural communities part of the service. And say there's quite a number of updates here, so I'll just draw your attention to a few in particular. Just in terms of the hate crime toolkit, the service has been working in partnership with other services to raise the profile of this, and it was a short-life working group, and we're now extending invitations to a broader range of partners to join the group so that we can have a much more coordinated response to work with using the toolkit. In March, we worked with Scotland's Learning Partnership to the use of a learning bus. You may have seen it over at Tesco, but it's been in several key locations, and it provides a range of information on the learning services that's available to people across. And it looked like it was a really good initiative and really popular. So just keep an eye on the impact of that. There's also information on the national investment in sport and physical activity by the Scottish Government through Sport Scotland, and we're now in the process of programming a range of activities through the rest of the year, and it's aimed at people aged 3 to 26. And although it's been titled as kind of summer of fun, it does actually extend right through to the end of next year. And so we're looking at, with our partners, a number of key initiatives, and we'll bring a report back to a further meeting committee to let you know what the plans are. And our library service continued to develop as valued community spaces. You'll see that in paragraphs 3.9 to 3.11. And you can see the vast array of services that have been provided by libraries that go beyond the traditional lending, such as all the work we're doing in terms of the media literacy and employability initiatives for one-parent families. And it just gives you an idea of how much all our libraries are doing for our communities in Inverclyde. And lastly, just our heritage offer continues to grow, with the cultural service team undertaking work in relation to the commemoration of the Greenup Blitz. And just on that note, there's members have been invited to a sharing of learning session with pupils from Inverclyde schools on the 27th of May. It's not detailed here, and just talking about the work that has gone on in terms of commemorating the Blitz with Inverclyde Academy. And also just to say that there's obviously a lot of work was done at the Highland Games by our Heritage Network, and also community engagement around the return of the Comet replica. And I just wanted to highlight the significant amount of work that's going into supporting heritage and Inverclyde. So happy to take any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. I've got Natasha Francesca and Elizabeth. Natasha?
Yeah, so my number of comments rather than questions, although I have written down more than questions. So just a couple of things, because once again we can't cover everything because it is quite a broad report. As always, fantastic to hear what our libraries are doing. I love the adult reading challenge I had. Yeah, I wish I'd known about earlier because I could maybe have signed up for it, but I think getting adults reading is a really great thing locally, and that's linked into things like the Outreach and Learning Bus and what they've done with those days being out and about, engaging with 400 adults. That's really valuable because we have so many adults in our community that could benefit from the services and support that Inclusive Communities does offer, whether that's literacy support, English as a second language, or whether it's support for families. There's a wide range of things, so it's quite exciting to see that, and hopefully in future committee you'll see that kind of engagement trickling through. Also, we want to mention just around the CLD partnership with UWS. It's really great to hear our staff being developed. We're more than aware that public sector budgets are being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and we want to make sure that our staff are still getting the opportunity to upskill themselves. And that links into the anti-racist practitioner training and the hate crime toolkit. I think it's important that everybody in this chamber and out with it realise just at the moment social cohesion is one of the most important things. One of the biggest challenges that is facing our society today is this us versus them mentality. So having these things brought to the forefront of this committee and to our staff and hopefully people in our community is really important. Maybe back to know just 2 more points. So one is just congrats to everybody who was part of the Inverclyde Music competition, and good luck to Kai. We're looking forward to hearing if we've had another win this year. And then finally, my question, just on 3.8, looking at the Sport Scotland, the summer sport, which is for all of this year, do we have an indication yet from Scottish Government or Swimming Scotland when we all know what sort of funding we're going to be getting? Because I'm just aware that there was free swimming promised for every child, I believe.
Okay, for yourself, you'll be able to take the Sports Scotland one first, if that's okay. Yeah, we have been allocated £165,000 for sports summer of fun, which is going to extend over to March of next year. On top of that, we've been allocated another £57,000 for a new worker to support community club development, and this is a part of the overall investment from Sports Scotland. We are working closely with our partners to put that funds to good use across the area. We will be doing some stuff over the summer, we will do stuff up over the year. As Tony mentioned, it's between 3 and 26. We're engaging with our community by putting a small grant out for the summer for community sport grant, and that has been put out, and each club could go apply for up to £1,200. There's a total of £20,000 being allocated to that budget. We have to run everything through Sports Scotland because it's a national engagement toolkit, so that has to be done now. On the free swimming lessons, at the moment we've replied to COSLA around that about where we are with it at the present moment. As you can see within the COSLA report, it was for P5s. At the moment we do P4. And they've agreed that they continue that. We're still waiting to confirm if we are going to receive any money for that. I know the leader of the council has raised that at COSLA, so we're just waiting for confirmation, but we have sent back all the relevant information. I think it was about £29,000 it cost us to put free lessons on for all people, including transport.
Okay, thanks you. Okay, Natasha?
Thank you on that. And with the free swimming, for some reason I thought the pledge was every young person free swimming, so I've clearly picked that up wrong, so apologies for that. And as I've said before in our convenience meeting, just making sure that we are reaching that full spectrum of up to 26, because quite often when we have these initiatives, it's quite easy to reach those young people that are still in school or in nursery rather than that other end. So just making sure that everybody's benefiting from it.
Okay, thanks, Natasha. Francesca?
Thanks very much. So definitely join Councillor Maguire in the congratulations for the music service, and also for Kai. I love hearing Kai sing personally, and I know he does a great job. So there's so much going on across the communities. As ever in this report, so absolutely brilliant to see that, and thanks to all the staff who've made that possible. I just wanted to make a quick comment about the Greenock Blitz commemoration. So I was delighted to support the motion from Councillor Brooks to start making the plans for that commemoration, and thanks to Gordon Sinclair and the Veterans Network for making it possible in association with council staff. I know it was a busy time, so it was great that they were able to put on really meaningful events, and I think Reverend Burt said it at the event itself at the cemetery. But I think we were all really moved with the involvement of the pupils from Inverclyde Academy. They did an absolutely fantastic job on the day, so thanks to everyone who made that possible. So just a quick question on 3.7, the early adopter. Childcare, and I see we're still in that kind of year to year, it looks like, process for that, and I saw, the report states funding for 26-27 confirmed in March 2026. I just wanted to check, is it looking like it is just going to keep on being year to year? Have we just got confirmation up to March 27? I know we had the visit from the then Children's Minister at Port Glasgow before, and I think we laid out the case for it quite thoroughly there and quite definitively. So I'm just wondering, do you get a sense from Scottish Government that there is going to be sort of, I guess, kind of more reliable funding or sort of funding going forward, or is it just year to year? I mean, obviously really thankful for what we've got there and it is making a big difference, but just to ask that question about the funding. Thank you.
Good.
For yourself, Convener. We had a meeting with Scottish Government this morning. Officers were down and they're still down, continuing the meeting with other officers. They're still, at the moment, year to year. They are looking to see, I think, the new appointment of the ministers is today in the Scottish Government. So again, we're pressing that they need to find out sooner if this is going to continue, because I think that the work that we're doing is worthwhile. It's having an impact on the communities. The risk that we've got is that we could, by 31st of March, have no additional funding to cover this, and that's also subsidising the parents at the moment, because we subsidise the parents quite a lot so that we can access the childcare. So we've started that discussion this morning, and again, we'll not know until probably later on in the year where we are. We did ask them if we could get an earlier understanding of where we are, so that we are, because nothing against the officers in the council or the government, it was really to the wire last time, so we're asking if we could know earlier.
Okay.
But there's still a need to do this work, and we recognise that, and the evidence that we're giving them maybe help us with that, but at the moment it could be year to year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Robertson, please.
Thank you. So my question is really just on the back of 3.13. Obviously, there's delays at the WAT, and I'm just wondering if we can get a wee bit more update on where we are with that. If that's okay.
I think I'll bring Eddie in that one.
Yeah, so you can be, that the actual lift has started to be constructed, and I saw some images of that only this morning. So at the moment, the programme for that extends into the middle of June before it's complete, and then back to the service to then pull things together for reopening, but the lift should be complete by the middle of June.
Okay, thanks. Sarah, you want any comment on it? You hope to get it up and running as quickly as possible? Sorry, putting you on a spot.
Thanks, Convener. No, the only thing I would add is that whilst the closure has been ongoing, the team behind the scenes have been doing a lot of really good work. So we would hope that we'll be able to show a little bit more of what as well once the displays are being stated, and the stores will also be a little bit more accessible. So we'll keep everyone posted on that.
Right, thank you. Councillor Quinn, Lynn.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the report. I think just to echo everyone. Great stuff in there. Really pleasing to see the Advice Direct Scotland taking part in the library. I was at a community council meeting to bring the advice services out into the community, which is a good thing, to get rid of the stigma and all the rest of it, that they can access that in libraries is fantastic, among all the other things. I've just got a quick question under 3.8, which is the Sports Scotland investment. So I was just looking at what we're going to invest on, and it said sports and physical activities for young people aged 3 to 26, and then it specifically mentions fitness classes specifically aimed at young women. So I'm just trying to understand how those two will dovetail. I don't know what we're classing as young women, but if we're doing up to 26 in terms of the young people, are we specifically targeting a sort of younger female audience, then will that come under the 3 to 26, and we'll have with sort of female only classes under the young people element?
Thanks, Lynn. I'll bring Tony in. Tony?
Through you, Convener. Yeah, the stipulation is they have to be under 26, and the condition of grant is it has to be what we have not provided before as well. So it's just one of the things that we are looking at, because we've recognised there is maybe a demand there for, we're always looking to increase, particularly with the teenage active schools as well, try to get participation in sport increased. So that was one of the ideas that potentially we could be looking at in terms of trying to improve access or kind of female only type classes. But again, nothing has been finalised yet, but that's kind of what we're looking at this point.
Okay, it's great. It's probably asked that when we do that 6 to be changed to female participation in there as well as male. That would be.
Lynn, I'm going to ask Tony, did he pick up on
I know
No, you broke up a bit.
Sorry, you just broke up.
Successful, so just a good report for sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just talking about Inverclyde Leisure already have sort of male-only classes which are really successful. So I'm just understanding, is it, is there a restriction on using what we already have, or does it have to be something new?
So we can use, but what we're looking at is it's not essentially just having to provide free things. It could be something like subsidised for those that are existing, users of the classes, things like that, and to encourage them to take on more. So again, it's not just about providing free facilities, it's also about providing maybe subsidised services as well but yeah, I agree. Inverclyde Leisure have already got that information, so we'll be tapping into that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor McVeigh, Tommy.
Thank you, Convener. My question's on 3.7 on the early adopters. Some commentary on employability opportunities and also strengthening pathways to employment. Do we have any data on that, or are we expecting some data further down the line to see how successful or otherwise that part of the programme is?
Hugh?
Yeah, for yourself, Convener. We have some data on that, working with our employability team in the council and our partners to look at how the families who are attending have went into either further education or some learning. And we're continuing to do that. So part of that project is to try and get to the final line of making sure that our families who are not working at the present moment on employment are trying to get into a good place for that. So we have got some data which we could probably share at the next committee. Yeah, so I'll come back to us. Yes. Okay, thank you, Convener.
Okay. Lynn, will you want Councillor Quinn, you want back in?
No, apologies, that's a legacy hand.
No probs. Right, thanks. Can't see anybody else online. I can't see anybody in the room. Can we agree the report? Thank you. Can we move to agenda item number 5, which is the Ward 6 Community Facilities Review, and this is the outcome of the paper. I'll bring Hugh in to introduce the paper. Hugh.
Thanks very much, Convener. The purpose of the report is to advise members of the committee of our outcomes of the public consultancy that took place across Ward 6 community facilities, along with socio-technical assessments to approve the rationales for facilities in Ward 6. Within the report, we received 461 people within the wider community who took part in the survey. Within the report gives you an update of where we are. Within that, a number of the areas that was highlighted within it. The recommendation for committee after coming through CMT is that notes the results of the public consultancy, agrees to close and demonstrate and knock down Meadowlark Community Hall, and agrees to undertake a feasibility study to explore the creation of a single combined community facility through consulting with a few connections at Upper Larkfield Hall. Also to work with HSEP around the change of use for Upper Larkfield Community Hall as an additional site for HSEP service delivery. I'm happy to take any questions in the report.
Thank you, Hugh. I'm going to open up for questions in the room, and then I'm going to give the elected member for Ward 6 a chance to ask questions or comments. So I'll bring Councillor McVeigh in first. Tommy.
Yeah, thank you, Convener. Thanks to officers for the report. I'm looking through this, and I may have missed something here, Convener, but I don't see any note of any consultation with the community councils across the ward. The third council at school, or any of the hall committees, or even youth connections. And I'm listening to something, or were they not consulted? And if not, why not?
Yeah.
For yourself. For yourself, I know they were all consulted, Councillor. It's not just mentioned that it was an open survey to anybody in the area. and all the community facilities were aware of it, including Youth Connections and the Community Council.
And did you get feedback from the community councils and Youth Connections, all committees?
It was all done through the 446.
Because we go to the next Larkfield Basin branch, and I suspect that they'll have some questions to ask if they weren't consulted, but if they were.
Yeah, they were certainly aware, and they were aware of the consultancy, and all managing boards that I was on were aware of the ongoing consultancy that was going out.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that. Couple another question,
Yep.
if that's okay.
Yep.
On the 3.13 on the net zero, the report talks about cost and benefits of decarbonising the facilities, etc. Now, I'm just for Mr Montgomery, when we're bringing back the costs, will we get some details on the benefits, as in how much we're going to save financially over if we implement these net zero actions? Will we get that, and how much we're going to reduce the carbon footprint for that particular facility? Will we get that information as well as the cost?
Eddie?
Through convener, that was something obviously developed project by project. Within the appendix, in Appendix 3, it gives you an example of a study that has been done on the Beams Bay community facility, which is essentially an identical building to the Larkfield and the Grieve Road community facilities. And within there, it gives you an indication of different interventions through retrofit that you can consider. And it does have actual estimates of figures of carbon reduction and energy consumption reduction. So the answer is yes, but it has to be done on a project by project basis, as and when you develop the detailed scope of works and how much retrofit you're actually going to take forward on a
Well,
building.
I'm just interested to know how much we're going to save in the long term with putting these measures in. Final question, convener. I know on page 40, there's again residents raising questions about patch advertising, non-responsive inquiries, etc. Now, I've raised this in the past about like advertising for community centre and Ward 7, and we're struggling to get people to use these facilities. Some people are not even aware of them. I'm disappointed again that we're getting feedback that it's not getting advertised, that something's not getting advertised the way they should. And I think Councillor Maguire said this as well. And again, we shouldn't disappoint them. And my question is, when are we going to fix it?
For yourself, convener, we're very aware of that, and we've raised that with the organisation and Lookout Leisure who've got responsibility for their sites. And again, myself and Tony have got a governance meeting tomorrow, and it's on the agenda to raise that with them, and the importance of making sure that we promote our community facilities as much as we support everything else that Lookout Leisure do. So we'll have that debate with them tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I really do hope that fixes it, convener, because it's getting a bit tiresome, and I'd say officers are taking that message back, but in the place, I think that we should get up to the map on that, because it's not the first thing that's been used. Thanks to Mr Slope for the response.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. I'm going to bring Lynn. I'm going to bring Councillor Quinn in first. Councillor Quinn.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the report. It's quite interesting, and obviously a difficult survey to do because of the different, the makeup of that ward, between Larkfield, Branches and Braeside and Inverkip and Wims Bay. So it is quite a difficult ward to try and come up with solutions. So in the report, it does say about, it was a review of Inverclyde Leisure and Inverclyde Council assets, but I was expecting to see Ravenscraig Sports Centre in there somewhere about the usage of there and whether that could be utilised, because when I look at the recommendations of closing Lark, then you're kind of got the sort of Braeside residents, relying on going to Larkfield to access facilities, but clearly Ravenscraig is probably a nearer facility for a lot of people that live in Braeside. So I was just wondering where Ravenscraig is in the survey and obviously on any sort of solution.
For yourself, convener. Ravenscraig is a part of the leisure facilities, not a community facility. So this is the moment we were only asked to review community facilities. But we have got a wider piece of work going on at the moment, led by Tony and Eddie, around reviewing all of them leisure facilities as a part of the same process. So we'd be hoping to come back with that in a future meeting to discuss what we're doing with that.
Yeah, can I just come back?
Yes,
I think then we should be looking at these in tandem. Clearly, you were trying to get out that one building being for one purpose. You know, we've got a sports facility. It could be used as a community facility. It's got the space, and you know, so you know, I think we're probably missing a trick there if we try and keep those two things separate.
Yeah, we're happy, Councillor Quinn, we're happy to look at that moving forward and take that on board.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Lynn. I'm looking to see, I can't see any questions in the room. Councillor Nelson, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Anderson.
Yeah, you said you were going to come towards councillors last, so I was going to hang it back. Yeah, but when I look at this graph of the usage here, you would expect places like Inverkip to be much higher because of the different facilities they have on offer there, you know. So it's no surprise that maybe that is the lowest. But that's not to say it's not being used by community groups, because I know it is. And I believe there's actually a church group needs there. Am I wrong?
No. For yourself, that was okay. The church group have given it up, so the vacant is vacant at the present moment, and it's not been reused at the moment. The church group have moved out.
Right. So the church group still meeting elsewhere?
They're meeting in Upper Larfield at the moment.
Right. Okay. Thanks. And another question is, this is an old co-op building, I believe, from memory. It was originally a co-op. Am I right then, yes?
Yes, it used to be a shop a number of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why demolish it? Why not sell the building?
If you look at Eddie maybe give you more time or stuff on that, but if you look at the actual asset, right, it needs a lot of work done to it, and it's probably not valued to, the best way is to take it down because of the structure at the back of the wall. It's been a concern for a number of years. Okay. It's actually held up with stacks at the back.
Right.
So realistically, if you look at the level of things that come in as an F edit.
Yeah, the recent condition surveys are indicating that it is in pretty bad condition. So I think if there was limited interest out there in the market, given how much investment it would need.
Sure. Yeah. So does that mean that the site itself could be offered?
Yeah. If you can be there, potentially yes, and that's something we can take back through the Environment Regeneration Committee for consideration.
Okay.
Yeah. Just on the numbers for yourself, convener, is that this is only based on 461 people's views. So this survey is only based on 461. So that's people who have answered the survey, not the actually number of things who are attending Inverkip or attending Youth Connections. This is only the feedback from the survey and people's views from the survey.
Right, thank you.
Okay, and of course, what we do as a committee, if we pass this, the building and the site gets transferred to regeneration, you decide what to do with it, and then I hate to say it, we virtually have no more to do with the site after that. I'm looking to see if there's any other member. If not, I'm going to invite Councillor Cassidy to comment on the paper. As I'm just wanting to make sure Anne sets me right here, you know.
Through you, convener, yes, no, that's correct. Councillor Cassidy is entitled to attend as a result of his ward-based interest, and he is entitled to participate in the debate, not vote on the paper. Thank you.
Thanks, convener. Just before I just to declare a quick connection to one of the facilities mentioned in the report by a relative from one of the boards that have applied to objective test, and totally that precludes me from participating and making comments on this report. Here I want to start by welcoming the work that Officer undertaken this report and the depth of public consultation. 46 responses, and it's clear from those responses that community facilities matter deeply to the residents in Ward 6, not just as buildings, but as places to support well-being, connection and opportunity. The report highlights that I think their investments worked well. Inverkip Community Hub having one of the highest usages of any facility in the ward. I think that's no accident. It's a well-run community-led facility, and the investments made in building that building only a number of years ago have clearly been rewarded as a result of that. I also want to put record my thanks to those involved in the Women's Bay Community Centre. Despite having no staff, it's entirely run by a dedicated group of volunteers, and it was very busy throughout the week. And I think that level of commitment deserves some recognition and underlines the value of empowering communities to shape and sustain their own facilities. Turning to Meadowlark, I think the report does present a very difficult picture. The usage has been extremely low, the building's been vacant for some time now, and the condition scores are the poorest out of the facilities reviewed. And I understand the recommendations that Ofsted came to this committee with. However, I think this decision needs to be handled sensibly for nearby residents. This may still feel like a loss of a community asset. And I would ask that there's clear communication with the community about why decisions have been reached, reassurance about how the site will be managed following demolition, and clarity on whether there's any potential for community benefit. And I think just as Councillor Quinn mentioned about how we can utilise local leisure assets that are just only a 2-minute walk round the corner from Meadowlark. With regards to Larkfield Community Centre Youth Connections, I welcome the officers exploring closer alignment between these two facilities. This is something that I've had discussions with officers about, and I appreciate the work the work being taken forward. I think there's real merit in bringing these services together in a way that strengthens the provision and delivers better outcomes, particularly for young people. I think it's important to recognise the history of Larkfield Community Centre. For many years, it's been a well-run community facility by dedicated local community members. But I think more recently, we've seen it's underwent some difficult periods, in particular not that long ago, where it faced some serious questions about its future. And at the time I worked with the branch of Larkfield Bayside Community Council, raised those concerns with officers and the convener of this committee, and asked that we step in and try and provide some support. And I appreciate the officers took that aboard, and the intervention did take place and working in partnership with the community has resulted in what I believe is potentially a more positive future for the centre going forward. It's remained open and operational. There's renewed interest from local residents wanting to see activities in it, and the community council has expressed a commitment to being more involved in its future, and I think that's a really welcome part. I think with regards to any potential use of the centre for the HSCP, I think my only slight concern around that is that I'd want some reassurances that this wouldn't result in a community facility being lost by default, and that we'd still have community access to that facility if that was taken forward. And when we kind of move towards the kind of feasibility studies, I think we need to look at low usage figures, not just in isolation. I think the consultation's highlighted there's been issues with heating, damp buildings, there have been barriers, there's accessibility issues and the impact on young people who rely on the facilities, particularly youth connections. I think our need to be central and come forward with any move on that. And I think I really want to emphasise with any reports to get young people and all this, that the consultation rules highlight blood engagement for under 35s, and there have been calls in it for better youth provision. So as I think as we rationalise facilities, we need to ensure that options for young people are strengthened and not squeezed out as a result.
Well, thanks for those comments, and as you're saying, officers will take it as the way in any future development, no doubt, as an elected member, you'll have your input at that point. Sorry, Tommy, you want to come back in?
Yeah, just a final question. If committee agrees to the feasibility study, would that feasibility include additional capital spend on both of you?
Sure.
Yeah, for yourself, yes. If we put the two facilities together, we would be looking to apply for external funding, through the Regeneration Capital Fund or some other source of money to try and merge the two facilities on the one site, and that site would be depending what's the best site for us if you look at the conditions survey. So it'd probably be the Larkfield site, but the key thing would be look for external funding.
And would HSCP be investing in the community hall if they take that on as well?
Again, that's a pilot that's been just in discussion at the moment. We need to have more discussion with them on that. It's very early doors on that one.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Councillor McVeigh. Okay, yes, okay. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks very much for that, and thanks to Paul for his input there. Can we agree the paper? Right, thank you. Can we move to agenda item number 6, and this is the community food strategy. Elizabeth, this is probably your Alliance board paper, if I'm right.
It has been through the Alliance, so and I think I've been visually pleased with it because there's just so much going on in it, and it's incredible. So yeah, kind of. So I hope this is the last time I see this.
I'll let Tony in. So, Tony.
Thanks, Convener. Yeah, so this is really this strategy usually would be for well, it still is for the Alliance to approve. We thought it would be just to bring it to this committee and just for noting, just to say that we've also got a draft food strategy in place, and that's included here. And it was really just to provide the committee with information about the progress that we've made over the past couple of years in terms of the food growth strategy. And we just wanted the committee to note that progress, particularly the ongoing support we've provided to the community garden projects across Inverclyde, and some of the other events that are detailed at 3.4 below. And just obviously the Inclusive Communities Service will continue to provide officer support for the development and the implementation of this strategy going forward. So happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Tony. I'll open it up to any questions. Francesca.
Thanks very much. Yeah, so a great, really interesting paper, as Councillor Robertson says, and said yourself, lots and lots going on in terms of community food growing, and great to see the impact of it, you know, and the sort of partnership that's going on with HSCP and also schools across Inverclyde. I think the only ask that I would have is, I'm aware, you know, we've got allotments in Inverclyde North. It would be great to see some more community growing spaces across Inverclyde North. If anybody's looking at expansion or development in terms of the community food network or any of the other groups involved, I can think of lots of kind of emptier spaces in Greenock Town Centre that would really benefit and thrive with a community garden introduced. So although obviously there's loads of great work and great sort of community growing going on, I was just thinking that would be nice to see that, especially because this paper's showing the great opportunities that it has when you see it in sort of Gourock or South West for local schools and nurseries to get partnered up with it. I'm sure loads of school groups and early years centres do go to the Cadle Hill allotments or to Wellington allotments, but they're a slightly different model. So the kind of community voluntary spaces, it would be lovely to see them, and I'd be delighted to talk to anybody who might be interested in looking at that. And we can think of plenty of emptier spaces in Greenock Town Centre that might benefit from it. Thanks very much.
Do you want to comment?
Yeah, just on that, thanks for the question, Convener. It's just that we are working on that at the moment through the Alliance. We've got an area that we're in discussion with Riverclyde Homes on in the East End area, and that's now been agreed to upscale that area, and it's back to the Alliance board in the next meeting. So we are looking to try and support any voluntary groups through this process, and we're keen to have any discussions with anybody to try and take that forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to bring Councillor Quinn online and then Natasha. Lynn.
Yeah, thanks. I've already had a wee look at this through the Alliance board, so it's great to see it again. I think it did get received really well, and all the great work that it's getting done with regards to food growing and organic food. I'm just conscious there was an article in the Telegraph today about plant-based food or natural food, so probably this is, you know, looks to, you know, not talk about whether we eat meat or not eat meat, but looking at growing our own and where that food comes from, and, you know, it helps with food insecurity. But is there something, so there was a few mention about cooking food and being able to cook food. Is there something, can we talk about sort of activities then to teach those how to use the produce and, you know, maybe cook that into a healthy meal?
Yeah, for yourself, Convener. Yeah, there is a project that's led by Nikki Boyle for the HSCP around the Community Chefs Initiative, and there's a lot of work with Nikki's team in line with some of my own team to get more engagement around teaching people how to eat with the right ingredients and everything else. So there is quite a lot of stuff going on, but Nikki Boyle is leading on that from her side of HSCP.
Yeah, great. I think it's worth highlighting that. Yeah, and probably because we are, although we're not the education part of communities, to work out that we do have home ec teachers in our schools who teach or cook. So I think it's worth pointing that out as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Lynn. Natasha, Councillor Maguire.
Yep, just to say it's great to see a strategy come before us. It's good to see kind of where we've came from, where we're hoping to head towards. How often will we get updates on this? I'm aware that says in 2.1 that's going to Alliance board on the 15th of June. I'm assuming that's the final signal. But I'm just wondering when we'll see this come back to ourselves, because there's a lot of overlap with what we do through communities and education and partnerships that we've got in the community. It's why it goes to Lions Board. So it's just understanding we'll get updates from that, and also just to do a bit of a shout out to people that maybe haven't done anything related to this food strategy in the previous iteration of it, just to get involved, because there's loads of community spaces that are open at various times of the day. It isn't just for people that aren't working or people that are part of a school group or youth group, but actually spaces across Inverclyde that people can access this information and get started on growing and learn a bit more about how to be more biodiverse in their gardens.
Tony?
Yeah, through the convener, we'd also be providing annual updates to the Alliance anyway, so we can certainly bring that in through the community's update.
Okay, that's perfect, great, thank you.
Going to bring Councillor Robertson in, Liz?
Thanks for bringing me in. I wasn't really planning on speaking about this until you kind of said something that I thought actually I will. The exercise in the East End was a hypothetical exercise. It was a kind of, let's think about this and see what we could do, and it's become something that is actually going to happen, you know. And I just think that's a real testament to how agile partnership is in Inverclyde. We kind of did a thought experiment and kind of went, right, what's the art of the possible here, and something's now going to happen from it. So I just think, and it's peppered all the way, pardon the pun, peppered all the way through this report, you know. But there's so many opportunities that people have just said, you know what, here's a piece of space, let's do something with it. And the agility in our partnerships that are evident in really practical pieces of work like this are just really worth celebrating.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I'm going to bring Innes in, Councillor Mill.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of this. It's like the 85th anniversary of the Blitz, you know, and it's gonna, in some ways, get back to dig for victory, you know, because that's what people were doing then. And I know where my father was brought up, in a council house in here, they had a big corner plot, and that's what they did. You know, they planted food, they had chickens, they had rabbits for eating, you know, for producing eggs and eating. And yeah, that's just the way it was done then. And people could go back to doing a lot of that and providing themselves with good healthy food.
Thanks, Innes. And just to say to anyone who wants to come up and see my allotment to see how I dig for things, as long as you don't come into my house and frighten my wee rabbit, it's certainly not for eating. But it is important. We are doing an awful lot of good work within Inverclyde. We've seen it with the guerrilla gardens that have come into the committee as well. So there's a lot of good work being done. And I dare say there is a lot of open space that we all know that could possibly be turned into things if we've got a willingness behind it. Elizabeth has just touched on that as well. So with that, can we note the report and pass it on, obviously, our chair of our lines with our full support?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. And that's the end of it. So can I thank Ian especially. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, through you, we're not going to do private.
Oh, we got private. Sorry. Anne.
At the end, I just sit still.
I think that's
Is that education? I think that's for it's education. It's the transport. We usually do that in education. Is that okay? Right, thanks. Don't be worried there, Anne. No, that's fine. So thanks everybody, and we'll see whoever at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.